And let's start with what we have discussed with our first program. So what we are supposed to do is adding two numbers. So we say some name for the program, and we have to follow the rules as well. And in this one, we talk about both input and output. So I will put input and output. Even without this, it will work. And always Pascal statements are end with semicolon. Right. And then the first thing that we need to do is we have to define our variables. So I'm getting two numbers, let's say first number, and the type is the integer type, integer data type. Then we have second number, these are variable. Again, type will be integer, right? Third, the calculating the total, we have used again integer, right? So that's the second one, we define what is needed. So next we have to say begin, and then we can start typing our code, right? So let me put some spaces. I mean, this is not very important, but yeah. So first of all, I'm using right len, just I'm going to display some message to the user. So I will say, okay, first number. So I will type, okay, the first number. So this is the message to the user, and that will display it. Then actual reading. So when you're reading, again, first number, so that is our variable name, semicolon. Similarly, we can ask to enter the second number. Semicolon, you are reading the second number. Right. Now that we got the two numbers, we have to define what the total is. We can, as assignment, we can say, okay, first number plus second number, that is semicolon. Finally, we can write down the answer. I will display it as a total equals, and we have comma total. So this should display my answer. And finally, I will end up with dot. So when you run it, you can see it's compiled and ask the first number. Let's put 10. And then let's put 20. And then if you go back, you will see the answer will be, right? So this is what we have. Enter first number 10, enter second number 20, total will be 30. And that is what we did last time. So let's have a new program. I will delete everything, right? And then this program is about calculating area of a rectangle. Right? Now, when you want to calculate the rectangle, area of a rectangle, you should know the length and the breadth, right? So that you have to request from the user, and then you calculate the area, then you are going to print it. Now, let me start by typing the command program, and I have to give a name, and I have to specify whether this is an input or output. I mean, this part, even without this part, it will work. Now, the second one, we have to define any variables. Now, I am planning to use three variables: length, you can decide whether it's an integer or the real, that is okay. But for this one, I'm going to breadth integer. Right? And the third one, I'm going to use area. That is also integer. Actually, you don't have to type 3 lines like this. You can say, okay, length, comma, breadth, comma, area. You could have gone like that. So now let's start. In begin, we will first of all write learn, and we put a message to user. For example, we can say, okay, enter length, right? And then user can, enter the value. So now I can read the length. That will get the, whatever the user input will be stored under the variable length. Next again, write learn. I will display enter breadth. Then I will read again breadth. So now by these 4 lines, now we got length value from the user, breadth value from the user. Now to calculate the area, we can say it should be equal to multiplication of length into breadth, isn't it? That will calculate the area. Finally, write length. Actually, you could have tried breadth only, but I'm going to display the message together. So I can, first of all, the message area equals. So this will be displayed as it is, and then we will display the area. So that is what is happening. And finally, type end with the full stop, end full stop. Now let's run this. Now let me run this. Okay, there are a couple of errors. Let's see what are the errors. Okay, Brett's spelling mistake. BREA. Okay, let me run. Okay, it's compiled successfully, asking a length. Let's say 10. Breadth is 5. We are getting area as 50. So you can see that now we are successful of running this. So let's write a Pascal program to calculate area of a circle. So let me start. So starting will be the same. You have to say program calculate area circle. You can use input output, right, and semicolon. So we need to calculate area of a circle. So now we have an additional this one. We have a constant value in this one. So before variable, we have to define any constant. So I'm going to use const keyword to define what my pi value is. I'm going to define it as 22 divided by 7. And now I'm going to define my variables. So first one is the radius. And I will define this as integer value. But then when we have area, remember, it won't be an integer value because you are going to pi r squared. So I will define it as a real. Now I can start my work, right? Now, when you say, the first thing is I have to get the radius. So I can say write len enter radius, right? And then I can read the radius. Right. So now we got the radius value. Now we have to calculate what area will be. We know it should be pi r square. You have to multiply by radius and by radius. Right. And then semicolon, put the semicolon here. Now that we have, we can, right? We can display the area. So I can say, okay, right length area equals, right, comma area. Now let me run this. I will give you time to do this. So now you see it will ask the radius. Let me put 7 and we are getting like, you see how it is actually placed. 1.54 something and e plus. This is means 1.54 into 10 to the power 2. Right. This is okay, but since this is not very clear, I'm going to modify my last line. Right. For example, I will say, okay, right length, a small change, area that will be no change. The other one, I will say area 7 and 2. So 7 is the number of total digits we are going to have. 2 means we will say, okay, restrict my answer to 2 decimal places. So if you run like this, now you can, if you put the 7, same 7, there are 2 answers we are getting here. One is 1 point, this is not very readable, but this is how we should be, output the radius. Okay, so let's take down the code.